This live stream brought to you by the Excelsior Citizen and these generous sponsors.
The Simmons Sales Team, your hometown realtors.
Our Excelsior Springs Hospital, where better care is right in your backyard. Find out how you can advertise with Excelsior Springs' #1 community resource. Visit excelsiorcitizen.com today.
We need that Jeopardy music.
Keep a finger on it.
My internet is now spinning.
You're down.
I've got
4 bars.
it is.
Ah, there it is.
We're waiting for the last minute.
There it is.
Yeah. There it is. Call this meeting
Recording
to
in
order.
progress.
And this evening, Mark has graciously said he would give us our opening.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Father God, we thank you for the privilege of coming into this place to conduct the business of this city. Father, we pray that before you this evening, that we might be honorable in our conversations and our thoughts, and we pray that you would be glorified. We thank you for the favor that you've given this community, the many blessings that we enjoy. And God, we just pray that we would be mindful of that in the days to come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Shannon.
Councilman Spahn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, are there visitors here this evening that would like to address the council that are not on the agenda? Okay. Minutes of the special meeting, City Council meeting of December 16th, 2022.
I move that we approve the minutes of the special city council meeting of December 16th, 2022.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spahn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Minutes of the regular City Council meeting of December 19th, 2022.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting December 19th, 2022. Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spahn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Consideration of agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spahn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Agenda item number 1, public hearing West Side Community Improvement District. I need a motion to open the public hearing regarding the West Side Community Improvement District.
I make a motion that we open the public hearing regarding the West Side Community Improvement District.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spahn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, the public hearing is now open.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The West Side Committee with the Chamber of Commerce has been working for the past couple of years to create a community improvement district. They've worked very hard on that. And that is evidenced by those who are in attendance this evening who've worked very hard on that. And this evening you have before you for consideration the establishment of the West Side CID, and the attorney for the Chamber of Commerce and the Westside CID is here this evening to give a little bit of information about the establishment of the Westside CID. Jennifer Baird with Lauber is the attorney of record for the Westside CID. She is providing guidance, and she has a very brief presentation. In lieu of the amount of time or the size of the agenda, she said she would be brief, but we did want to have an opportunity just to visit with you about the Westside CID, give you an opportunity to see what it could do for the community. Please keep in mind that if approved, it is a funding mechanism to match grant dollars for the $21.5 million of the RAISE grant. So I'll turn it over to Jennifer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, Melinda did my job for me. I don't have to do anything at this point. So thank you, Melinda. So as Melinda was referencing, we're here tonight to consider establishing a community improvement district. And I know that you are very familiar with community improvement districts because you have one in the downtown area. I think you have a couple more that are more project specific. So you understand what these types of projects, how they could fund and how they could make those improvements. So with that, so that's really why we're here, is to establish the community improvement district, and under the statute it's required that we have a public hearing. Next slide, please. So under the Community Improvement District Act, it states that we have to include in the petition not only a legal description but also a map. What you have on the screen there is a map of the proposed district. The areas that are in blue are those properties that are proposed to be included within the district. The other requirement is that the district has to be contiguous. There's really no definition as to what is contiguous, but if you look at like Webster's dictionary, it talks about it has to at least be connecting somehow. And so you'll notice there are some properties that are not within the district boundaries only because either, they didn't want to be included, or this is primarily a commercial and retail type of community improvement district. We didn't want to include residential properties. So that's the other reason why there might be properties not included. The other thing I want to make sure and mention is when we filed the petition, we followed that up with an addendum which we filed, and in that addendum we wanted to clarify, because the legal descriptions, it's really hard to tell, but in the legal descriptions we wanted to make it very clear that we are including the right-of-way, not only for the railroad but also for the roads. And we want to do that because a lot of the trail improvements will be happening within those right-of-way areas. So, and under the CID statute, all of your improvements have to be within the boundary. So we wanted to just clarify that, which is why we submitted the addendum, to make sure that it was really clear. Next slide, please. So moving on to the petition requirements, we did file it December 30th of 2022. This is important because under the statute there's certain timing events that have to occur. So that's why we want to mention when it was filed. City clerk did review it to determine if it substantially complies with the statute, and so that determination was made and we were able to notice up and have this meeting tonight. The name of the district is going to be Westside Community Improvement District. Under the statute we have to include that Community Improvement District in the name, so there's a repetitive pattern. You'll notice all of your community improvement districts have that phrasing. In addition, the petition has to be signed by property owners within that district boundary. You have to be signed by over 50% per capita or by head count, and 50% by assessed value. So we had over 60% of the property owners sign the petition, which equated to over 50% of the assessed value. So we meet that requirement. There's also a couple different ways that a community improvement district can be governed. They can be formed either as a political subdivision, which political subdivisions can actually impose tax, as opposed to the other way to form a community improvement district is through a not-for-profit. And so not-for-profit organizations can't impose a tax, but they can also impose like special assessments, those types of things. But this is the most common way that districts are formed, and so that's what we're proposing, is to form it as a political subdivision, which means it's going to have its own board of directors. It's going to be made of 5 members. Those members are all either business owners or representative of business owners within the district. We also have 1 member that will be a city member, and in the petition we've named that first body. They have staggered terms, and successors, the way that they get appointed is that we would come back to the council, we would give a slate of proposed board members to the mayor, and then with the council's approval, the mayor would appoint those successors to that board. The funding mechanism. So there are actually several different types of funding mechanisms that a community improvement district can impose. The most common is the sales tax, and that's what we're proposing. We're not proposing a property tax or any type of special assessment. It's just a sales tax. And the maximum sales tax that the district could impose is a 1%. The term of the term of the district is 27 years. There was a change in the statute a few years ago, which actually limited the time frame for community improvement districts. However, there are provisions that state if you want to extend, then you can, prior to the termination of this term, you could come back, and it involves not only the CID board, but also the governing body going through a public hearing process to then extend the time frame. So we are also proposing a blight determination on this one. There was a blight study that was included in the actual petition itself. Some of the things that making it a blight finding is having to do with, we've got roads that are narrow, no pedestrian walkways, we've got open ditches, we've got facades that are old and dated. There's certainly some improvements that could be made in that area. So blight determination is important because if there's a blight determination, those CID revenues can then be used to help remediate the blight. So I talked a little bit about facade improvements. Typically, we wouldn't spend public funds on facades, but obviously, if that is part of the blight, which is what is in the blight study itself, you can use funds to help with those improvements. Lastly, there has to be a 5-year plan. And again, this is more of a snapshot of, okay, what is the district, what does it look like for the first 5 years? And so in the 5-year plan, we list out, all the types of improvements. We list a budget, which we'll get to in just a second. That budget does not include absolutely everything that the CID revenues may be used for. It's a 5-year snapshot. So each year, if formed, the CID board will approve a budget, but prior to them approving it, they'll submit it to the city. The city will make comments on that budget and then approve it as well. So this will be a yearly thing that you'll be seeing. Next slide, please. Oh, that's really hard. Okay, a lot harder than I thought. Okay, so that's better. Thank you so much. Okay. So again, this is just a snapshot so you can see and get an idea of how this would operate. But the biggest cost that's in the first 5 years would be trying to put in the walking trails. And again, this is in junction with the RAISE grant. We have about $900,000, which we are calling development. And that's maybe to help, as people invest in their properties. Sometimes there's lots of infrastructure improvements that need to be made, a lot of other street improvements. So that's a potential area of funding that can help fund those improvements. Again, that's a benefit to the entire district to do that. We have facade improvements, and then we also included promotion, which is more or less to help bring people into the West Side area. Whether that be through, flyers, mailers, banners, something to get, people over in that area. CIDs, not only can they fund improvements, but they can fund services and stuff like, again, marketing, snow removal, if you have landscaping and you want to hire a lawn and landscape company to come and keep things maintained, those are types of improvements that could be done. You may have to hire, they may have to hire an architect
to design certain improvements, maybe the street improvements or the landscaping improvements. And so those are the types of costs that could also help, be funded. And then lastly, although it's not required, we also asked and wanted to include the revenue projection that what the CID could possibly be generating. So we're looking at about 1.5 million a year. First year is a little different, a little lower, just because the process is if this CID is formed tonight, then the board of directors that's named, and that not only in the petition but in the ordinance that you're going to be considering, it'll be approving that first slate of directors. They will be meeting, and they will then have to adopt an ordinance that imposes the sales tax. That sales tax, then we have to go to the Clay County Election Board and work with them to hold an election. So assuming the sales tax is passed, those sales tax really doesn't go into effect until the second calendar quarter after the election. So we're looking at possibly, mid to maybe fallish, maybe before the sales tax would even, come into play. So with that, like I said, this, or Melinda actually said this, the next item on the agenda is the ordinance to approve it. Obviously right now we're love to hear what questions everybody has and try and answer those questions. And then if, the next item is the approval of the ordinance, which we really hope that you guys do approve. Thank you.
Would you mind providing a little bit of commentary before you step away?
Yes.
So with regards to, is this a ballot, appears on a ballot in April?
No.
Or can you talk
Sure,
a little
I
bit
will.
about what does the election process look like? for that
Absolutely.
system?
Absolutely. So under the CID statute, what it is, it's a mail-in ballot. So only the property owners within the CID district, they're the only ones that are going to vote on the sales tax. And so, like I said, the CID board would be working with the election authority, because they won't hold an election the same time as another election. So we're going to have to figure out a date to hold that election, and it's all by mail-in ballot. They don't have to, the property owners don't have to go in and vote the typical way we're used to voting. They will get the ballot in the mail and just have to mail it back. That's how that works. Did that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Which leads me then to so if you have attrition or turnover in businesses, the CID is unique to the region, not necessarily the specific businesses within that region. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So if you have a business that's generating there now and is in there, and after this is formed, they leave and a new one comes in, they would be subject to that as well. Yes.
Well, you talked about the map being contiguous, so those properties that are not contiguous, do they have voting rights on this district as well?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so only those who have agreed.
Only in the blue where we showed,
Okay.
yeah, only the blue.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you speak to the parts of the road that aren't included in the blue? That on the picture there were several spots where there would be blue road and then not included road and then included again.
Sure. Shannon, do you think you might go back to the map just to kind of
It's
help?
up
She's
now.
getting there.
Oh, she is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So what that means is that CID funds, there could be other funds of some other being used to, if there's improvements to be made, other funds would be used, but not CID funds, because that's not within the boundary.
What are the reasons that the roads weren't included within the boundaries there?
And I don't know if anybody else, if Brian,
Residential, that's an apartment complex. So those are residential, that is not business. If you're looking at this right here, this is residential, this is residential. So
Well, I mean the roads there.
The right of way,
Yeah, the right of way.
the disconnect in the blue highway,
So it's
To the left of
Oh,
Allen
we'll go
Heights.
straight
Left
out.
of Allen Heights.
the
and
road,
there.
yeah.
So
this
that
is
was
69
only,
highway.
it was the ease of writing the description. So I could not include that neighborhood which is probably Allen's Heights.
Allen Heights, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Llewellyn, and I can't think of the road names in there.
Helen, Dolores.
No, not
So
No,
without
it's on-
including
Oh,
the
right,
right of way,
that's-
you can't,
Yeah.
It's
or
right
the
behind
neighborhood, you can't include the right of way either?
It was just the way to describe it. I was gonna have to exclude every parcel inside that. If I included the roadway, the 69 highway on the west side of that neighborhood, I was gonna have to exclude every single parcel in that neighborhood. And the describing of it was easier to exclude the road, for no other reason than just in trying to make it clear what the boundaries were.
With regard to the properties in the petition, Lawn Garden LLC was excluded. But in the map, it has part of our property which goes all the way out to Highway 10
Yes.
in the contiguous zone.
Yes, the property on Business 69 or Jesse James is included, and a lawn garden that is the parking lot and on the Quorum Road, those both are excluded.
But our property which adjacent to Jesse James is in
It is,
the, okay.
yes.
I need a name of who this question
I'm
is
sorry,
for.
could you say your name and address?
Chad Taylor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that the train that's like just north of Liberty Carbon there?
This is railroad track.
Okay, so
Okay.
That's the
is there a
street
reason
line.
that that part of the track's not included?
It is under, it's called, in that part of the track where, that's yellow, it is called conflict of ownership. And so I just avoided it.
Okay.
Yes, it is conflict of ownership.
Yeah.
Not saying that.
So I just stayed away from that.
Okay. Now, on 69, is that going to create any issue in terms of funding potential projects that would go through there? Or it would just have to be a different source than?
Originally, we hadn't planned on using their project money on 69 at all. And as it turned out, I was the one, I just did the coloring. As it turned out, it was so easy to do. I just included it so it would not, you just don't have to split that hair. That was really, it could be in or out. I just included it because we are doing project work there, and we had not planned on this district matching that work, but I just included it while I was in the process of coloring.
I just want to clarify, Julia Goldstein, Lester Heidi. This yellow spot on 69 is basically going to be treated the same way as the rest of 69.
Yeah,
It's just not colored in because it's in the middle of a residential.
yeah. There is a raise project along the whole length of 69 highway from McClary to the park at Warnell. And that project will occur. It just won't be using their funding source because they can only spend their money inside the district. So the city is providing a match as well. And so whatever is not included in their district is what the city will match.
That's helpful.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing regarding the West Side Community Improvement District.
I move that we close the public hearing for the West Side Community Improvement District.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Thank you all. Agenda item number 2 is an ordinance of the City of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, approving the petition to establish the West Side Community Improvement District, declaring an area to be blighted, and approving the appointment of the initial board of directors thereto.
I move that we take ordinance number 23-01-01 consideration of the establishment of the West Side Community Improvement District to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilman Spawn?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. An ordinance of the City of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, approving the petition to establish the West Side Community Improvement District, declaring an area to be blighted, and approving the appointment of the initial board of directors thereto.
I move that we approve ordinance number 23-01-01, consideration of the establishment of the Westside Community Improvement District.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. Okay, you have your CID district.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a lot of work. Thank you all for all of that work.
It was really very
It's exciting.
nice.
It
Yeah.
is exciting. And you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 3 is the consideration of a community center board appointment. This will be a resolution. And Doug Ritchie has asked to be removed from the community center board. He just doesn't have time at this time of his life.
No.
And so I'm proposing that we replace him with Gregory Broadbent. So I need a motion for that approval.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 1402, consideration of community center board appointment.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilman Spawn?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. Agenda item number 4 is a resolution approving the purchase of a concession trailer from Custom Trailer Pros in the amount of $58,066. Nate.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I think you got me for about 4 items here tonight, which is
You're giving Chad a run for
very rare. Yeah. I'll try not to talk as long as Chad, but we'll see what we can do here. So the first item we have here tonight is a concession trailer. This is for the Phase 2 project. We opted to not do the brick and mortar concession building add-on to try to cut costs, and we were able to custom design a concession trailer that will meet all of the needs that we have, and is also able to go other places if we have special events or things around town that we could utilize it for. So we were able to receive 3 bids from the concession trailers, and Custom Trailer Pros was the best bid and the one that met all of our needs. When we sent out our initial needs, they were very responsive. They can get the project done in time, which is another big piece, and then they're going to deliver it right to us. And then once we get the trailer, we'll be able to send it to Ashlock, and they will put our logo on the trailer, which is the one piece that they couldn't do in-house, which that's a very minor thing, so it's $650 for Ashlock to do it. So, and then we get to stimulate the local business a little bit. So I'll be happy to answer any questions on this. I know we discussed it for a little bit on Friday at the work session, but.
Do you have any other questions?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I echo that comment. I appreciate you working to cut cost on the project, and because you never know when a gotcha is going to raise up and you're going to need that money somewhere else. So thank you.
Well, and you can utilize this in other areas also if you
Right.
need.
Right.
So
And we,
that's
and we have a
really-
kitchen on site,
Yep.
so
Mhm.
that also helps.
Yep, and if you saw in the designs, we are putting a window on both sides,
Mhm.
so it doesn't matter where we park it, we'll still be able to serve, where we don't have to try to finagle and maneuver it into a spot, so.
Okay. A resolution approving the purchase of a concession trailer from Custom Trailer Pros in the amount of $58,066.
I move we approve resolution number 1403, consideration of concession trailer purchase.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. The resolution number, or agenda item number 5 is a resolution approving Community Center Pool Dome Project Change Order number 1 with Arizon Structures Worldwide LLC in the amount of $44,772.
I'm gonna tag Jesse in for this one.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, gotcha moment. I apologize. But we've had a lot of deducts, but we do have a change order we're asking tonight. The change order is for deflation protection fan. Simply put, in going to other sites and talking with Horizon, the pole and cable could possibly get into way of future expansion with a 3-meter diving board as well as other climbing walls. So this will eliminate the pole and cable system, and the deflation protection fan is another option that allows a clearer span of use when it's put up as well as in the future. So I appreciate your consideration, but this would be a change order that would add to the Horizons project. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
And you'd indicated we're still under budget on that
Yes.
particular item. So
Yes.
very good.
A resolution approving Community Center Pool Dome Project Change Order number 1, Horizon Structures Worldwide LLC in the amount of $44,772.
I move we approve resolution number 1404, consideration of change order number 1 with Horizon.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Thank you. Agenda item number 6 is a resolution approving the purchase of a walkway canopy from Lawrence Fabric and Metal Structures in the amount of $86,822.
This will be an accessible walkway that will be enclosed, an air dome structure, forced air that will be in between the center and the dome, and there will be a little area that will allow, once again, accessibility, but the quality inside the building from humidity as well as outside. Sadly, this is a specialized, very specialized feature. Our architects reached out to various people, and in working with Horizon, we only found one that would fall. And so in the event that there is only one firm, company, or individual capable of providing a particular service or supplies, then I approached Molly about a sole source, and I'm very comfortable with everything with this in regard to the specs being met, and sadly, in reaching out to 16, only one would meet those qualifications. So in front of you is from Lawrence Fabric and Metal Structures, and once again, this is something that others have not used, but when we visit them, they said, we need to add this because of the snow and other things in between the facilities, especially for accessibility for our friends that have challenges. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is this also removable in the summer, or is this? Okay.
Yes, yes. This will be removable. It's a fire retardant fabric, and it will go as a I guess the old saying of grandpa would be a pack and play, so we would move that into the dome structure, and there is adequate storage for that. Great question. Yes, sir.
Okay. Resolution approving the purchase of a walkway canopy from Lawrence Fabric and Metal Structures in the amount of $86,822.
I move we approve resolution number 1405, consideration of community center tunnel system.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, agenda item number 7 is the resolution approving the purchase of a 1-ton pickup truck from Chuck Anderson Ford in the amount of $49,771.16.
Yep. So, back again. This is for, like you said, a 1-ton pickup with flatbed on the back and a snowplow system on the front. This is we have bid this 4 times in 3 years, and I think we're finally at a place. At our December park board meeting, this was unanimously approved by them. So now my next step is to come before you guys. So we do have President and Vice President here of the park board as well to answer any other questions I might not be able to answer. But this truck has been ordered already in the hopes that it gets approved once the park board approved it, just to know that we have a standing chance to actually get it this time. So,
Nick, I don't remember from our planning session, what's the anticipated delivery date on this?
we don't have one yet. We're hoping 120 days, within 120 days.
So next season.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's pretty good. We waited 6 months.
Right. I mean, we've been waiting for 3 years, so what's a few more days at this point? And if it's going to stay like this, I don't know that we're going to need it for a little while.
As Nate said on Friday, last year, he lost the truck because of our approval process. So it's not like they can't find a buyer. We felt comfortable in approving to go forward because they can find a buyer if we don't approve.
Pretty good market out there.
Yeah.
A resolution approving the purchase of a 1-ton pickup truck from Chuck Anderson Ford in the amount of $49,771.16.
Move that we approve resolution number 1406, consideration of P&R truck purchase.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thanks.
Agenda item number 8 is an ordinance approving a final plat for Morocco Estates, final plat, a subdivision in the city of Excelsior Springs, Clay County, Missouri.
Madam Mayor, council members, this is the application for the final plat of 16-lot, 2-family subdivision. It was approved last year by the Planning Commission and City Council in a rezoning and preliminary plat known as Clacton Estates. The northern part of the development, Clacton Estates first phase, was developed last year with 8 single-family lots. This is basically the second phase. It's under new ownership, and the name is changed to Moroccan Estates. The Planning Commission reviewed this proposal at their December regular session. They found that the subdivision conforms substantially with the approved preliminary plat. The subdivision satisfies the city's technical specifications and design criteria and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval. And the Public Works Department has found that the Public Works plans are in an approvable form. And staff will be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. An ordinance approving a final plat for Morocco Estates, final plat, a subdivision in the city of Excelsior Springs, Clay County, Missouri.
I make a motion, we take ordinance number 2301-02, consideration of final plat for Morocco Estates to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, an ordinance approving a final plat for Morocco Estates, final plat, a subdivision in the city of Excelsior Springs, Clay County, Missouri.
I move we approve ordinance number 23-01-02, consideration of the final plat for Morocco Estates.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay. Agenda item number 9 is an ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 400 zoning regulations and Chapter 401 floodway and floodway fringe overlaying district of the municipal code.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. This is the second to the last step in the city's year-and-a-half code review process, the code review update. We're hoping this would be the last step. But this review is for consideration of proposed amendments to the definition section within the zoning regulations, which would normally occur at the very end, so we can cover any new items or clarifications that are necessary after other changes. And then some non-policy related, just some corrections and updates to the floodway and floodway fringe regulations. That would have gone forward with the bulk of the code review process, but any changes to your floodway and floodway fringe overlay zoning district regulations require approval by the State Emergency Management Agency in order to ensure consistency with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the National Flood Insurance Program, to be able to maintain your eligibility in that program. We did receive the guidance for making updates and changes, and those are reflected. Non-policy related, none of the standards or requirements were modified, just updates and corrections. The zoning definitions we feel are fairly comprehensive and should address everything that has been modified and updated in the previous code review. The last step in the code review process will be the sign regulations. That was discussed and presented to your planning commission. Some of the discussion was veering into policy related potential changes, and based on their feeling and city staff suggestion, we took a step back and we're going to start a public engagement process to talk about how some of those changes can be best implemented or reflected within a potential amendment. So that is not for your consideration this evening. The Planning Commission considered this at their December meeting. They held a public hearing. We received no public comments at that time. The Planning Commission felt that this accurately reflected the code review process and their previous input, and they recommended approval unanimously. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, an ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 400 zoning regulations and Chapter 401 floodway and floodway fringe overlay district of the municipal code.
I move that we take ordinance number 23-01-03, consideration of code amendments to chapters 400 and 401 of the municipal code to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. An ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 400 zoning regulations and Chapter 401 floodway and floodway fringe overlay district of the municipal code.
Move that we approve ordinance number 23-01-03, consideration of code amendments to chapters 400 and 401 of the municipal code.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Agenda item number 10 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Excelsior Springs to enter into crop lease agreements.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The city leases out some of our city-owned property around the water plant, the well field, and the wastewater plant for agricultural purposes. We advertise for bids for a 5-year lease for approximately 57 acres more or less at the water plant and approximately 54 acres more or less at the wastewater plant for the 2027 growing season. 7 bids were submitted and the tabulation sheet is attached. At this time, I recommend the bid of Erie Rash, which is the high bid with Rash Brothers LLC, to be accepted for the amount of $276 per acre for the water plant and the well field, and $276 per acre per year for the wastewater plant, totaling $30,636 yearly for the 5-year lease. Ordinance is attached. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to discuss it with you. I will say the last 3-year lease was about, I think, around 150 and 130. So considerably went up, and we had the request of several of the farmers asked to go to a 5-year lease, and that's probably why, in addition with inflation, that the prices went up quite a bit. So almost double revenue for that. A lot of this land is for buffers too around the plants at the well field, and actually it's for additional wells. Right now we have 6 wells, so we're not in need to drill any wells right now, but we do have that land for additional wells. The land down there at the water plant is for the application of lime. Right now we are discharging to the Missouri River under a DNR permit, but that can always change. Remember, we're doing the study right now to see, and we would need that land or for lime abatement if we do need to apply it on there. And those provisions are in the lease that we can take it out for a year or end the lease early if we need to do so. And then the stuff at the wastewater plant is, again, kind of a buffer for the land. You'd never want a close neighbor at the wastewater treatment plant for obvious reasons. And then we had bought that land behind us, that farm behind us for an expansion area. There was a residential house on it that came up for sale. That was back in the early 2000s or late 90s. I think we acquired that land. So as you can see, even though it benefits us with the buffers, and it does turn in revenue for agricultural uses, and then gives us the ability to apply land or sludge out there at the wastewater plant also. So, any questions?
Guess not. An ordinance authorizing the City of Excelsior Springs to enter into crop lease agreements.
I move we take ordinance number 23-01-04, consideration of crop lease at water plant, wells, and wastewater plant to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. An ordinance authorizing the City of Excelsior Springs to enter into crop lease agreements.
I make a motion we approve ordinance number 23-01-04, consideration of crop lease at water plant, wells, and wastewater treatment plant for the years 2023 through 2027.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Agenda item number 11 is an ordinance to authorize the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Excelsior Springs and the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, providing for a traffic engineering assistance program study along 69 Highway up the intersections of 92 Highway, C.E. King, Italian Way, and Jill Lane.
Attached with this letter is an ordinance for your consideration and approval authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission for conducting an intersection safety and operational analysis study through the TEAP program. And TEAP is an acronym for Traffic Engineering Assistant Program. For the fiscal year 2023, this is a $15,000 traffic study that will look into intersection safety and perform an operational analysis for the intersections of Jill Lane, C.E. King and Italian Way, and 92 Highway, along with 69 Highway. The grant is for $12,000 with a local match of $3,000, which will come from our own city ARPA funds. This area was picked when we became aware of this TEAP program of areas of high wrecks. Italian Way, C.E. King is probably the most noted one out there. They have done a study up there at, I think it's 69 and 92, MoDOT has, but they're going to relook at all 3 of them. I think even we have several accidents at Jill Lane. This just identifies it as a study and then gives us the ability to have a shovel-ready kind of set of plans and study if we ever move forward and funds come available to actually do something. So this does not build anything, it's just the study.
Any questions? Okay, an ordinance to authorize the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Excelsior Springs and the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, providing for a traffic engineering assistance program study along 69 Highway at the intersections of 92 Highway, C.E. King, Italian Way, and Joe Lane.
I move we take ordinance number 23-01-05, consideration of Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission agreement for T69 Highway intersection safety and operational analysis study.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. An ordinance to authorize the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Excelsior Springs and the Missouri Highway Transportation Commission, providing for a traffic engineering assistance program study along 69 Highway at the intersections of 92 Highway, C.E. King, Italian Way, and Joe Lane.
That's a mouthful.
I move we approve ordinance number 23-01-05, consideration of Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission agreement for T69 Highway intersection safety and operational analysis study.
Second. Go ahead, Andrew.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chad.
Chad.
Okay, agenda item number 12 is an ordinance imposing a sales tax at the rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use non-medical marijuana sold within the City of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4th, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
The new Missouri law that has legalized non-medical marijuana provided that local governments could impose a 3% sales tax on the retail sale of non-medical marijuana. So MML has also provided cities with an estimate to use for planning purposes of what that potential revenue might be. They have said to use $150,000 as a planning number for moving forward. The Public Safety Sales Tax Committee met in December and expressed interest in imposing the sales tax to address any negative impacts that may result from the legalization of marijuana. We benefit from those states that have gone before us in how, what was the impacts that those states felt from the legalization. Just a short summary of what some of those impacts included was an increase in traffic fatalities and impaired driving, marijuana use by ages 12 and older, adult usage, college age, and youth usage, an increased number of ER visits, hospitalizations, and suicide incidences, black market investigation by drug task force, felony arrest, quality seized, postal system trafficking, and societal impacts. The public expenses that are related to those areas of concern are the need for more peace officers to be trained to identify drug impairment, to keep our roadways safe. Calls to poison control related to marijuana exposure increases most significantly for exposure for children age 5 and younger. And so we have proposed ballot language that specifies that the increase in funding would be used for public safety and prevention education for drug abuse, and make assumptions that would assist us with any negative impacts that we'll encounter as a community from the legalization. There also, I'm seeing on a daily basis the number of communities that are indicating that their community have approved this for the ballot for April. And I'll let you know when this tally stops, but there are a significant number of communities that are putting this on the ballot for this time as well.
There were 5 others doing it tonight.
Yeah.
That I saw in the news.
We did, the language that we presented to you on Friday, we modified a little bit to specify the uses in the ballot language. So that was the change, public safety and drug abuse prevention.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a fair statement too, when you compare this to, for instance, alcohol use by youth.
Yeah.
That's a federal, I mean, there's federal dollars available for that type of prevention, whereas because this is still not legal federally, we don't have access to those dollars. I think it's imperative to
very good point.
Have these resources available.
Something else that, Stephen, I've seen you at the SAFE meetings, they've shown us some really good information of survey data that's collected in our community, and the abuse numbers, substance abuse numbers for people that are abusing alcohol or underage alcohol and prescription drugs is dropping, while marijuana is increasing. And you would just only guess that comes from just the conversation that this is becoming legal, and the conversations that are surrounding it is possibly the assumption that this is safe, and you would want our youth to still receive that education and prevention information that has been helpful for all the other substance abuses that we're seeing the numbers drop.
An ordinance imposing a sales tax at the rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use non-medical marijuana sold within the city of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4th, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
I move we take ordinance number 23-01-06, consideration of sales tax on non-medical marijuana sales, to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. An ordinance imposing a sales tax at the rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use non-medical marijuana sold within the city of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4th, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
I make a motion we approve ordinance number 23-01-06, consideration of sales tax on non-medical marijuana sales.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spawn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Agenda item number 13 is an ordinance allowing claims and appropriating to pay the same by issuing checks out of various funds of the city.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Appropriations that was presented for your approval is for a period running from December 14th of 22 through January 13th of 2023. Total appropriations $1,497,951.83, and that breaks down as I'm about to read. December 14th, 2022 appropriations $179,429.68. December 21st appropriations, $176,647.39. December 28th appropriations, $100,669.07. January 4th appropriations, $272,319.58. December 30th payroll, $416,414.98. And January 13th, 2023 payroll, $352,471.13. For the total for your approval, $1,479,951.83.
I think you meant to say 1,497,000.
Did I?
79.
Let me re-say that.
Yeah.
$1,497,951.83.
But actually down below it says, in the respectfully request appropriations, the numbers are inverted.
Oh, it
I
is.
just noticed that.
It is.
Yeah, I did notice that.
It is. I would have to.
We'll just approve it with the correction.
Approve it with corrections.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. An ordinance allowing claims and appropriating to pay the same by issuing checks out of various funds of the city.
I move we take ordinance number 23-01-07 to second reading, consideration of appropriations as corrected.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilman Spawn?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. An ordinance allowing claims and appropriating to pay the same by issuing checks out of various funds of the city.
I move we approve ordinance number 23-01-07, consideration of appropriations.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spawn?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll get that corrected.
City manager, do you have any remarks?
Yes, in your transmittals is the December court report and the household hazardous waste report. And Excelsior Springs had like 68% of the traffic that in December, was that just December?
Yeah, that was our event.
Yes.
When we had the mobile event here.
Yeah.
So it was about 30,000 pounds of household hazardous waste that stayed out of the waste stream. So.
Yeah. There was lots that happened, but I don't want to steal everyone's thunder, so I'll let you have the rest.
Okay, and if we miss it, we'll come back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Sonia.
Well, I was very appreciative to be invited to the police department's annual dinner and award ceremony Thursday evening. Very nicely done. It is so nice to see our men and women in uniform recognized. And also, they had a lot of family members who came and supported them with that. And those people sacrifice too, their families do, so we appreciate them also. And then on Friday, there was a very well-attended meeting with Mark, looking at some housing opportunities for Excelsior Springs.
Stephen?
I echo those comments, Chief Dole. As I mentioned, I appreciate the culture. That it's deliberate and very much appreciated. Those things don't just happen, so very much appreciate taking the time to recognize our men and women in uniform.
Thank you.
Echo all the above. It's nice to have a night shift back on the police department. I imagine Clay County is very thankful of that too.
I'm sure they are.
Just like to say, glad that Sharon's operation on her hand went well.
Yes, it did.
And Chad, glad to see you back in the saddle. I heard you were very ill.
Back up.
Nothing to add to that, thanks.
Same thing? Well, I missed it because I had my surgery that day. But I know it was I know it had to be very nice, and we all appreciate our officers, so thank you.
Thank you.
Did we get it all?
You did. The only thing I'd add is just the work at the pool. It's starting to look really nice. The pool looks great, but the grading now is done around the pool. And I think the big announcement coming up for next week is some closure in the parking lot because they'll start expanding the parking lot. So that's the next thing to look forward to.
The comment in my household was, "Oh yay, they're not taking away my parking space."
I'd also like to add, I'm very, very pleased that the West Side CID has
Yes,
been approved.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's
This is
so
wonderful.
exciting.
That's a big weight off of all of our shoulders, especially Melinda and Molly and
I think there's more work to be
And
done.
Chamber.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't get easier.
No.
I think I didn't know there was a ballot that came next, and we're like, what's that? So, you know, it's one more step. So.
Well, it's exciting to know that the full amount of our grant is
Yes.
ready to go.
That feels great.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. If we'd have to come up with that $9 million.
I
that
can't
would
even
be-
imagine it.
So, good
Yeah.
job. Yeah. Well, thank you all. We will be adjourned.
As long as I-